like cashier. Get the money like a cashier. Customer, clientele. I was broke, that was last year. Getting money like a cashier. Get the money like a cashier. Benjamin, nothing less. I was broke, that was last year. Don't change them. I never switched up. Been down since day one. Stay social. People change them. I never switched up. Social.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, I'm hanging out, man. It's been great today. It's not as hot as it's been over the weekend. I felt like I was melting. How about you over there in California?
Man, weather's been great. Probably been 75, 80 degrees, maybe in the 80s. I don't know. It's been nice.
How was it on the weekend?
It was beautiful, actually. Went to the beach, had a blast. Wow. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dope Black Thoughts Live. My name's Kevin Cox.
And I'm Cleveland King.
Yeah, man. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in with us. Yeah, dude. Nah, man, it's been super nice, dude. So funny / kind of crazy. We were at the beach and we're enjoying the waves. The kids are in the water and stuff, and we're just having fun. We weren't boogie boarding or surfing or anything like that. And my son goes, "Who's that guy out there?" And I look out in the waves. I don't see anybody. I'm like, "What are you talking about? There's nobody out there." And he's like, "I thought I saw somebody." So we continue swimming. And maybe 10, 15 seconds later, I see what looks like a person wearing black, like maybe bent over in the water. I'm like, "What is that? Is that person okay?" Maybe they were swimming and they got, salt water in their eyes and trying to rinse it out. I don't know, something. And then it starts moving towards me, and a head pokes up out of the water. It's a seal, dude, like a 6 to 7 foot long seal. Stuck his head out, and his head was like the size of a football helmet. And he just comes up, looks at us, goes back under, and just goes on about his business, swimming between everybody that was out there on the beach, and just goes on about his business. And you know how you like, "Oh crap, let's get out of here." And I was like, it was a mix of, "Oh crap, let's get out of here." Then 2, the seals really attack people. Then 3, is there a shark chasing that seal? And then 4, well, he didn't look frantic. He was big. He wasn't worried about nothing. So that was kind of one of those little, what in the world's going on? Hey, shout out to Maurice Williams, man, one of my homeboys from Houston. Thanks for tuning in, bro.
This is national, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, we're on the internet, so yeah, we out there. International, sir.
Okay. Tell the family to check me out.
Yeah, tell them check you out. Well, we're live on YouTube. By the way, everybody, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, so you can find us anywhere. Pretty soon we'll be going on a lot more platforms at the same time. But right now, you can find us on YouTube and Twitter also. And it was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy because the thing was bigger than me, and I'm a big guy.
I was like, it was bigger than you?
Yeah, it was bigger than me. And I was like, you know what? Let's just take a break. Maybe
this seal was bigger than you.
Bigger than me, bro. It was bigger than me. Yep, obviously bigger than me. So
I would have thought it was a seal. I mean, I probably thought it was a black shark or something. I mean, that's a big seal, man.
It was huge. Well, his head came out and he had the whiskers. The whiskers were facing backwards and had like the snout nozzle type of situation. It was crazy.
And there was only one of them, huh?
Just one. See, now if it was several, then it would have been like, "Oh crap, maybe there is a shark out here, scaring them up." And if he was moving frantically, you'd be like, "Oh crap, he's being chased by something. Now we really got to get out of here." But he was kind of chilling. And so, then also, you don't want to fall into a false sense of security, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me go ahead and take a break and go up in the sand, warm up for a little bit, maybe grab a bite to eat, let me just chill, stop getting comfortable, stop being out here like some of these other people that are just comfortable with anything and everything in the water. you know, for the rest of the day, you know, it was Seal Watch 2022. Everything was, yeah, but it's probably a seal right there.
How close were you to the seal?
3 or 4 feet. It was right there.
Right
like,
there.
Honestly, and so we were looking like, oh crap, that's a seal. And like we were facing towards the beach, like there he is right there, and boom, a big wave hits us. And honestly, could have bashed us into the seal, which probably could have been a situation, right?
What happens when seals are hit by people? That's a good question.
When people attack seals, seals got to fight back.
There was the Black Arts Fest was in Denver today. This weekend. I forgot
nice.
about it. Do you guys have that?
I'm sure there's black arts of some sort. On
Not a festival
like that. I'm not trying to know. Well, look, I don't know per se, but I'm not quite tapped in all the way. Let me get tapped in all the way.
Oh, okay.
The historic Black Park where I was at, where Juneteenth Festival was, there is an art gallery there, and I actually spoke to the Aziz Gallery. An African gentleman by the name of Aziz owns it, and there's tons of African art there. And there was an African, oh my goodness, there's an African artist there, paint. Who he does paint. He does paintings, and I put up tons of pictures on Facebook. His name's like, I think it was Oke Akamoto or something like that. I can't remember exactly how to say his last name, but his name is Oke, Okey. And I met him, took a picture of him in front of his painting. As opposed to just taking, instead of just taking a picture of his painting and putting it out there, without credit to the artist. Yeah.
Took a picture of how you actually made the painting. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're due for an interview, so we'll be working on that also.
That's cool.
Of course, I asked, so always be closing, man. You come on my podcast? He's like, sure.
A lot of people are pretty willing to come on a podcast. You're right. When you ask them, oh yeah, just tell me what.
Yeah, they're like, I'd be honored. It's like, wow, great.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, hold on a second. Is there anything going on in current affairs, like in current events? I mean, anything interesting popping off in the news?
Let me see.
Any
I saw something on
debauchery
the other day. I think it was some kind of trial, or no, it wasn't a trial. It wasn't a trial. It was they were talking about some orange guy. Some orange guy. He used to perpetrate his running the country.
Oh man.
Yeah, they talked about him.
Good.
It was good. It was good. It sounded like they were really trying to have a coup there. It's amazing.
I mean, so. And I really wonder, because I hear, I deal with a lot of conservatives on a daily basis, and I try to wrap my head around, their mindset, because it's no use having, sharing space with people when you can't understand them, right?
I agree with that.
I try to ask, the question, not probing questions, but questions that try to understand their side of it. Hold on a second. Let me put on this comment right here. Okay, y'all, how do we get to Club and Baby Seal? There was no clubbing. If anybody was going to get clubbed, it was going to be me.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
But yeah, speaking of things that need to be clubbed, the conservative wing of our political system. Saw that one? Saw what I did there? Yeah, the conservative wing has been becoming more conservative than past conservative presidents, such as Ronald Reagan, such as George W. Bush, even. And that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing, right? The rightward slide of politics in America as we continue to move along. But I'm asking people. Okay, so I had a guy. He took me to lunch, right? And he was like, well, what do you think? He was very conservative.
Oh.
And he was like, what do you think about how things are going in this country? Like, what do you think about gas prices? I'm like, man, gas prices suck, dude. And here, let me let Dylan in real quick.
You know what sucks more than gas prices? Having a cross burned in your yard. That would really suck. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Dylan?
How's it going, y'all?
Pretty good.
Going good, man. just talking about, trying to understand the conservative mindset, because we got to try to understand, right? And so a conservative friend of mine took me to lunch and was like, he was like, what do you think about the gas price? I was like, yeah, gas prices kind of suck. But, gas prices have been sucking for a long time, right? I'm old enough to remember 89, 99 cents, 79 cent gas and whatnot. So, moving to California from Colorado, the second I moved here, I was in shock about the gas prices in 2021, and that was immediately after Trump was leaving office and Joe Biden hadn't had a chance to do anything, right? Before Ukraine war had started. And it was already expensive. It's only really gone up maybe $1 at most gas places. But when you're in a more metropolitan area, that's when they really sting you on the gas price. And it's like you're looking at $6, $7, $8 and whatnot, going crazy. And what you do, you get the conservatives that say that's how the gas prices are in California. But no, that's the most extreme, far end when there's no other gas stations around. So I'm peeping that out, and I'm telling them like how I really feel about it. And I was like, well, so I did the research and I looked online, and it turns out that oil is the same price per gallon or per barrel as it was 3 or 4 years ago. And the only thing that's changed is they're not refining the oil, they're not creating the gasoline, and they're not distributing it, and it's creating synthetic demand. And he's like, well, we still got to get other stuff under control, or we're going to have a civil war. I think it's the only way we can get things back the way they're supposed to be. And I was like, check this out. So they charge you double for exactly what you were buying, 3 years ago. And instead of looking at those rich billionaires, you look at your fellow brother, your fellow American, and say, I need to shoot my brother. That's tough stuff.
Yeah, that is crazy. You're right.
I mean, that's a real switcheroo, and you can't. If that's not brainwashing, if that's not propaganda, I don't know what it is.
Why do you think prices haven't trickled down to us, considering that the cost per barrel is approximately the same that it was years ago, but it's what we pay at the pump is higher today? I understand the refinery and all of that, but what could be another reason?
Well, I was going to say corporate greed. And the corporation would be the corporation that owns the refinery, such as ExxonMobil, right? Now, my mom lives across the street from ExxonMobil. It's a 29 square mile refinery, one of the largest in the world. And if they don't want to refine it, they're doing it for a reason. They do it to create that demand so they can make more money with less product. And boom, just keep on running it. So, appreciate that comment there, Maurice. And here goes Margot chiming in. How about homeless families, AR-15s in elementary schools, and no drug treatment outside of incarceration settings for people on Medicaid?
There are a lot of homeless families. Right, about that. Well, you hit them all there.
I mean, look, I don't have a problem with the AR-15. I have a problem if it gets into the hands of someone who's mentally ill. Someone that wants to cleanse the earth or take out some school kids, right? At that point, I have a problem with it. And maybe we shouldn't be drowning in an ocean of AR-15s, right? That would probably help. But also, every time there's a mass shooting, they start pointing to mental illness, say mental illness. But then there's a mental illness program, and they don't want to allocate any funds. So what exactly are we trying to do? And you try to allocate funds, and they say that's socialism, that's communism. You just want to give out money. That's just welfare. So, I asked Prince Dykes, the financial investor guy from the Investor Show, friend of the show, when he was our guest, and I asked him what was up with the gas prices, and he said, corporate greed is a part of it. Also, they're betting on futures on oil. It's not just the demand now; it's what they perceive it to be in the future. What with electric cars, phasing out of the internal combustion engine, and hybridization, and regulations that are going to be cutting down the creation of carbon dioxide and whatnot. So it is a mix, but corporate greed is definitely a large part of that formula.
But if we go back to AR-15s and gun rights, it is a slippery slope. How can you effectively implement legislation considering the Second Amendment?
What do you mean?
How can you put folks through this process to where they have to wait until a background check returns, or they have to wait 10 days or 2 weeks in order to receive that weapon. That goes against capitalism. That goes against the Second Amendment. It's kind of a slippery slope to say that you want to restrict guns.
I think they're more concerned about these gun shows that you could actually walk up and just buy a gun right then and there. You don't need
the gun show loophole.
The gun show
instance.
definitely has to be changed significantly than what it is now.
But I would say that's a small percentage.
I don't know if it's small.
Well,
I've been to some of those shows.
Well, if we consider the mass shootings, they didn't get their weapons from gun shows.
I think some of them, one or two of them, did. But
and
you're right,
also, well, the problem isn't that the percentage of people that got it from a gun show. That's part of the equation. Another part of it is the gun culture. Why do we need guns to define us as Americans? Why do we need guns to uphold our manhood? You know, it is actually not an extension of our penis. You know what I mean? Like if you break it down, it doesn't, equate to anything. The larger the gun you have, it doesn't mean anything. Same thing with a big truck. Why are some dudes obsessed with big trucks? Hunting for big game.
There's not a whole lot of black folks in the black culture that are just touting guns or big trucks.
They're out there. They're out there.
But it's not
it's
like the vast
so
majority of the culture. I think that's a different culture dynamic, or what's important. I think it goes back to slavery, if I was being honest, because they didn't give those guns to black folks. Then NRA, when did they even start letting black people join that? It's recently, and there's not very many members of the NRA. So it's kind of like a way of keeping us down.
Yep. And check out what Margot says here. Struggles with taking away guns from any single group of people. And look, like you said, Dylan, talking about the Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe that it needs to be rewritten with explicit language saying that there shall be no discrimination built into the enforcement of our right to bear arms. Because we've seen, or maybe you guys haven't, but I've seen people do the social experiment of a black man's going to open carry, and then you show in the same city or a similar city, a white man open carries. The white man, the officer comes up very polite. Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to check on you, make sure everything's okay. You happen to have some ID with you, or you don't want to provide it to me? Okay, cool. Is this gun legal? Is there everything going on okay around here? Yes, sir. Everything's fine. Okay, great. Have a great day. Just wanted to check in with you, make sure everything's good. Black guy, helicopter, SWAT team comes in, guns drawn, everyone get down on you. And he's like, I have the Second Amendment right. Yeah, get on the ground. There's a two-tier justice system. When you have a two-tier justice system, you can't just talk about, well, it's okay. You can have, war machines. It's like, who can have war machines?
That's right.
Of course, I know black people, they are 15s. I'm friends with people, I may or may not have perused.
One of us may have one. Or maybe all of us.
You never know.
You know.
And maybe we all have one.
Or more. You're right.
Or more.
Never know. We're talking about the Civil War. You got to be ready.
But hey, talk about Civil War, though. Like I was saying earlier, Cleveland, Mike Tyson said it. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. That's right.
Fact. You're right.
These people say they want war. Do they really know what war is? And when they have war, what happens when even our best, our strong, no, I'm not going to say our best, but when our most dedicated people willing to sacrifice their life come back from war, something in them is broken. They have troubles. They have PTSD. They need mental health supports. They need us to wrap our arms around them and help them come back into our society because war took something from them, right? Like, you don't want to put that onto America, the most violent per capita, the most shootings per capita, one of the lowest education rates in all of civilized, all of the Western major global powers. We're not doing that great.
I think that conversation of Civil War is probably the most un-American thing that you can say. The beauty of this country is we can all have different opinions, but why does it have to turn to violence?
That's true.
We have enough issues with our adversaries, Russia, China. So why do we want to fight each other? It's so un-American to consider or bring about that topic that we're on the brink of a civil war amongst us.
Isn't making America great again about the Civil War on some level? Because when America was great, when they were talking about it, at least Trump was back with Jim Crow and segregation
Mm.
And it was just great. Who was it great for? It wasn't great for me. It probably wasn't great for you or our ancestors. So I think that Civil War conversation just goes back to the platform of the Republican Party, to me.
But if we consider the effects and the impact that a civil war would have on society today, America specifically in democracy, there's no winner. No one will win.
I'd agree.
It would tear down democracy, not only in this country but other countries, because we are considered the light on the hill.
I mean, are we considered that?
Have you seen the trials lately? And they're talking about the radicalization of all these hundreds of thousands of people from that one party. I mean, I almost think they're trying to gear them up for some kind of military action. I don't know. Have any of you seen the trials? Is it a trial? What's going on? It's not really. It's a congressional hearing. Is that what it is?
Hearing, yeah.
It's a hearing.
Committee hearings.
It's like a trial, but it's called a hearing. Yeah, and they talk about all the people that's been radicalized, kind of like in a third world country or Syria or whatever like that. And they said there's millions of them out there. I don't know if there's millions of them out there, but there's a whole lot of people. If you believe that the big lie and really believe it, I mean, you talk to these people, they believe that Trump won. Like
okay. Now I'm remembering what I just heard about. What's his name? Oh my goodness gracious! The decrepit guy that was one of Trump's original campaign managers.
Padsdale. Is that the one?
No. The guy. Oh my God, Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon. The guy. I can't even.
Things, man. He said some interesting things.
He recently audio came out of him saying what was going to happen. Post-election before it happened. He was saying Trump's going to just declare victory, and if he's not winning, Trump's going to go crazy. He's going to be saying all kinds of crazy stuff. If he's not winning, he's going to declare that it's being stolen. And Trump basically followed everything he said to a T. Maybe the timeline was a little bit off, but this was a playbook. There was definitely a playbook, and I don't have a problem with people having a strategy for how they're going to win, but I have a problem with people having a strategy for how they're going to overcome the democratic process.
Okay.
That's interesting. I didn't know he said that. I thought one of his things he said, and you could tell he was trying to take out the black vote completely, is, you can't vote unless you're a homeowner. Well, there's such a small percentage of minorities that are homeowners because of a whole lot of reasons that they were just trying to push down the minority population, the Republicans to win for the next 100 years. And you heard them say that they wanted to win for the next 100 years, kind of like a kingship or something. I guess it would be Donald and then the kids and then the grandkids. And everybody swore that he would never be Yes, she's right. I didn't think he would be president either.
Yep.
Kind of lets you know where the country is, right? It's not what I thought it was.
Look, we're not moving forward. I'll tell you that much. And then also, kind of when America was great, some of the things that made America great was the strength of the social ladder. The ladder to the middle class, the highly unionized workforce, the strong minimum wage based on the cost, versus the cost of living. The minimum wage was way stronger versus the cost of living back when America was great. Even though black people were disenfranchised from the economy and whatnot, the white man enjoyed a unionized workplace and a strong living wage everywhere they worked. All they had to do was work 40 hours a week, and they could take care of 2.5 kids and a dog named Spot in a 2-story house and write a check to send their kid to college.
That's true.
The American dollar was very strong back then, but it looks like, I just might say, that Democrats and Republicans, to a degree, differing degrees, have both kind of sold us down the river to corporations and allowed minimum wage to not keep up with inflation. True. So that every year everyone is poorer, period.
That's true.
Right? Rent goes up. There's virtually no controls on rent, so everyone affords less and less living space, year over year. Workers' rights are being diminished year over year as regulations. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau that was instituted under Obama by Elizabeth Warren That has been dismantled under Trump. I have not seen Joe Biden say, I'm going to rebolster the CFPB and I'm going to drop this and this legislation and give it teeth and whatnot.
Is Joe Biden really a Democrat, kind of like is Trump really a Republican? I mean, what do we really think? I think they have both blurred the lines.
But I think that's kind of what we need as a country, someone that can bring both parties together.
You think
you can't be completely left and you can't be completely right in order to bridge us together. You have to compromise on certain issues. So you may appear to be in the middle.
Do you think that's been going on for the last 6 years? Do you think Trump brought us together? Or do you think Biden's bringing? I'm just questioning.
Who brought us together?
I don't think Trump brought us together, but I do believe Biden is making strides in order to bring us together. It's just he is not very articulate. He doesn't know how to deliver the message effectively in order to get everyone on board. I think that's his main downfall is how he articulates things.
I mean, Biden historically spent about 25 years shilling for credit card companies and major corporate donors, right? Historically, not a Biden. Biden had virtually nothing to do with the policy under Obama's presidency, and Obama's presidency wasn't the most impressive outside of healthcare reform, and even that healthcare reform was conservative because it was written by Republicans.
Mitt Romney, right?
Mitt Romney did it first.
How ironic, right?
And actually, let history be told. Barack Obama was the perfect Republican because he could make Republican tax cuts permanent when George W. Bush couldn't even do it. So when we really talk about bringing the parties together, that brought the parties together, but to do what? To sell the average American worker up the river. What that did was it took away the sunset clause in the tax cuts for the rich, and it made it so once again, cost of living gets further out of reach for people making minimum wage. And he went against. I'm not gonna say went against, but did not bolster unionization. Joe Biden has stood for unions, but he hasn't really done any legislation to undo all the things that they used to union bust. And he hasn't really fought. You saw when Amazon was trying to unionize. Less and less living in general. Bottom of not living is down.
That is a
Democrats at the moment and completely ignored by Republicans outright. Here's what I think goes on in the conservative mind. I heard this said maybe 10 years ago. Most conservatives and most poor conservatives and poor white people believe that they are temporarily embarrassed millionaires. They don't believe.
Wait. That's hilarious.
They side with the rich because doggone it, I'm just waiting. My number's gonna hit. And I'm going to keep on working hard because we know how working hard in America makes you rich, right? I'm going to keep on working hard. I'm going to throw in an extra couple of days at work every month. And by 10 years from now, I'll have to be a millionaire at least because this is a meritocracy. And
that is hilarious, man.
But I think our current state of... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you broke up.
It's really not that difficult to be a millionaire in this country. You just have to have a little bit of, not even a whole lot. I mean, just a little bit of knowledge, and all of us could be millionaires, at least millionaires on paper. A guy that I was going to interview, and I probably will, is a contractor, and he was bankrupt in 2008. He had no money at all. He is a multiple millionaire. And what he told me is that this is what you do, man. It's so easy. Every year, you buy a house. Every year you buy a house. Because what goes up all the time, even if it goes down or stays down for a little while, it's going to go up. Always goes up. To the point now that unions and trust funds are now going out and purchasing property. That's why it was so hard for some of the average Americans. It's really not. But why it's so hard for the average American to buy a house because you were competing against corporations. So what he did was he bought a house every year since 2008. Okay. Housing prices doubled. If no one knows, it doubled. And in some places, it tripled. So that $100,000 house he has is now worth $300,000 or $400,000. So on paper, he had 10 or 15 houses, 10 or 15 houses that have doubled from what he paid for them, has probably paid him off, has made him a multimillionaire. You can still do that today.
True.
It's not hard to buy a house. It's a mindset, but it's not hard to buy a house once a year.
That's very true. But, speaking of that gun culture, though, more people, the amount of money, if you talk to some of these conservatives and literally find out how many guns they purchase and how much money they spend on these guns, they probably could have bought multiple houses. They've given away as much as multiple down payments on homes, and the income that needs to be saved for a nest egg towards doing all sorts of wealth building financial exercises on useless weapons that aren't going to protect them if they get robbed in the middle of the night.
That's true.
But I do think a lot of Americans are locked out of being able to buy real estate or homes. If you consider my generation and going to college and student loans and all of that, it takes a lot longer to be in a place to where you can actually buy a home or homes.
Not a fact.
Elaborate.
Not true.
I'm 30 and I'm just now at the point where I can and it would be feasible. But before the pandemic and considering my student loans,
they have lied to us for decades.
Now that's true.
Now,
it's true, they lied to us quite a bit.
Hard to accept that, but it's very true. Back in the 40s after World War II, I tell the story sometimes, there was a program that was called A House of One's Own, and people were able to get homes for $100, basically, which would be equivalent to about $1,000. That program still exists today on the books. Why haven't they said that, come on, folks, we'll help you in the home ownership? Why has that not happened? When you still have a program that 70 years ago increased the home ownership by over 50% then, because it was 22% then, now it's 76%. Now, why would you have a program there still on the books and not push it out to the population? But yet, they'll push out Section 8, which is crap, or they'll push out affordable housing, which is also crap, or they'll put in one of these, oh, you can buy a house, but you don't own the land, and we're going to keep it for a while, which is also crap. That's helping people who are at the top of the scale, or the millionaires and the billionaires. But if they really wanted to help the everyday person like you or me or like that, why don't you use the program you had 70 years ago that's still on the books and push it out to the masses? Because they don't want us all to have houses. I honestly believe they want the masses to be renters, and I think a lot of them are going to be that. So that's a personal choice. You can change it. I have just told you can do it. You can give me a call, and I'll show you how to do it. But my program is not the only one out there. Like I said, this was a national program for 20 plus years. Isn't that interesting? True.
Very interesting.
It's fact.
Wow, man. I mean, and we had this my wife saying we need a show about that. Talk about that.
We did a show about that. We did a show about that.
Look, we need a whole show just about that.
But that's what we talked about, wasn't it? Seriously.
No, we need to talk about this every week. Talk about people coming from different areas, how they can access those resources in their state. Talk about just building credit. How do you even need to build that much credit? I remember because the main thing that you beat into my forehead, Cleveland, was that your credit doesn't have to be a silver bullet to get a house the way they make you think that it has to be. And you don't have to come up with all that money the way they make you think it is.
That's true too. They've lied to us.
Yeah.
They've lied and maybe even sometimes some of us lied to us too.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of the contribution of that whole situation.
Well,
but hey, man, you can buy a house. Everybody could. You can buy a house once a year. Not that hard. Not that hard. I'm gonna do more than that, but that's me.
That's what.
You see, what did she say?
Keep talking till it's solid and understood. Credit, down payment, etc.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
What part?
About down payment, how much you would need, average credit score.
Okay, that's pretty easy. So the government gives you a program. You know, they give you a little bit, but they don't give you a lot. They give you a little bit. It's called CHAFA. That's the primarily one that I use anyway. That gives you 4% on the cost of anything, right? So say down payment is 3.5%, right? So you take this class for CHAFA, that's a couple hours, pretty much ask you how good you are with your credit, and then gives you some examples of what to do and how to be a responsible person of paying your bills, right? So CHAFA gives you 4%. So down payment is 3.5. All you have to do is put 3.5% on a house to purchase any house. Okay, 3.5% is goes down the down payment. Closing costs differ depending on the lender you choose. All lenders and all realtors are not the same. For whatever reason, some people think that if I use my cousin as a realtor or if I use my uncle as a lender, that the program that they have is across the board. It is not. Lenders and realtors have different programs, and they all go by whatever is doing the best for them. Some realtors have programs that are really high, they're going to pay a high rate. Some lenders have programs that you're going to pay a real high rate. That is your choice. That's why they say that within the 45-day period, your credit score will not be affected as much as you go looking for houses. If you go looking for mortgage lenders, because they know you're looking for a house. So now they're not going to really hit you on your credit score. And how bad is it really going to hit you anyway? So we're talking 1 or 2 points that you take from a hit from somebody pulling your credit. If your credit is that low, then maybe you should worry. But usually you take the 1 or 2 point hit, and by the time you buy the house, your credit score goes through the roof. Now, once your credit score goes through the roof and you have that house, now you have leverage in the community. Now, here's a question. Maybe, I don't know if you know or not. How is money made in this country?
Real estate.
No. Close.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, man. How does the United States make money in this country?
Capital gains.
Close.
Okay.
The United States makes money with debt. Money is made with debt. How does the United States make money? They give out debt to the banks. How do the banks make money? Debt. You can't make money, can't be a millionaire in this country unless you have what? Debt. So if the United States makes money with debt, the banks make money with debt, how do you think you would make money? With debt. Now the churches say, don't owe no man nothing but his love. Okay, that's not capitalism. If you want to control the population with the churches, you're going to have a whole lot of broke people. But capitalism says you have to get as much debt as you possibly can to get growth and money. How to be a millionaire in this country? Obtain debt.
And pay your bill on time.
What is a house? A house is a big debt, right? Now you have debt, a big debt that the banks see that you have acquired. So what do you think the banks are going to do now that you've got this house? Because how do you make money? You make money with debt, right? Debt. They're going to give you all the credit cards you want. That's why your credit score goes to the roof, because the banks are like, yay, we're going to make more money. And we get these idiots putting their check in the bank, making this 0.7% or whatever year, when inflation yearly is more than 4 or 5%. So you put your money in this bank, every dollar you put in, you're really putting in 96 cents because the bank's taking some. And then they're going to take your money and loan it out to you for a loan on a credit card or a house or a car. And we sit there and we do it. Millions of people. I got my check, I'm going to stick it in the bank. Why? I'm not sticking it. The last place I'm going to put it is in the bank. They're going to take some money off of it. I'm sorry, you probably have savings accounts.
But even nowadays, savings accounts don't have 3%. They used to be 3%. Nowadays, they're not even 1%. It's
not even 1%, and inflation is 4%. Here's the other thing. This is why housing is so important. I'm a big house guy. Okay, so the average increase of housing is 5% a year. Okay, right? How much is the average wage increase yearly? Less than 4%. So by waiting every year, you get further and further away from buying a house because every year you lose 1%. Now in Colorado, man, it's been going up 10, 15% per quarter. So say you wanted to buy a house last year, right? Okay. Now the price of homes have increased 20, 50. My house has increased over 100% in the last 3 years, real talk. Okay. Now you're going to wait another year to buy your house. And people, you hear this all the time. I'm going to wait a year for a housing crash, which is not going to happen. They don't understand why the house crashed back in 2008. They've corrected most of those things, or it's going to go down, or whatever the case may be. Okay. You wait that year and say you live in Colorado and you were able to afford a $500,000 house. Well, a year goes, now that $500,000 house with the interest rates going up, plus the amount of money that these houses have increased, you can't afford a $500,000 house. Now you're looking at $250,000. And then you say, I'm going to wait. What happens, do you think, when that happens? I have had 12 clients that have done this. 12.
Housing prices go up.
When they wait that year, the housing price goes up. Their wages go down.
And the rent goes up.
Because what do they want us to do? They want us all to be permanent renters. And we're going to let them. Well, I'm not going to let them. I'm going to actually be somebody's landlord. But I would suggest you guys buy a house.
Noted.
If you don't, that's on you.
A house a year.
It's not that hard.
Say a house a year?
One house, man, it's not that hard, man. It's not. So
just one?
We'll go to the next. No, we'll be talking about this all day.
That's what I'm saying, though, because once we get you going, you have a wealth of knowledge, Cleveland.
Yeah, we'll be.
You know what I'm saying? Like we need to get what we need probably is at least once a week, at least like a 5-10 minute housing market update. Just little common tips that are just so normal and regular for you that we haven't heard more than once or twice in our entire life. Just drop them on us. We're gonna get back to proceeding with our Dope Black drops, where we just drop an audio format only, 3 to 5 minute clip of just what's going through our mind and just start getting some of this stuff out there, because it hits the podcast platforms and we have a lot of regular listeners all over the world that really do pay attention. And you look at our numbers, it may be deceptive. You may not think a lot of people listen.
No, I know a lot of people do, man.
It's rolling, rotating numbers. Like people really are tuning in and checking stuff out. So it's good to get this information out, and I appreciate that you have it. And Dylan, Dylan, with your background, you have a very strong background as well. You got to start dropping knowledge on us too. Start dropping them gems.
It's coming.
To be continued.
But I have some ideas about resume building, how to get the job that you want, but it's coming.
Okay. And I'm down with having that resume building conversation, because I think I'm one of those people that suffers from poor resume skills, and I've had people soup up my resume for me and whatnot. But let's check out what Margot said. I want to stop single family zoning in Colorado because that will level the playing field again and lower rent.
I love you, Margot, but nobody should be renting like zero people. I think that's a choice. And if you want to rent, that is your choice. Hey, rent from me. Give me your money. Because here's the deal. Even if you're not paying your own mortgage, you're paying someone else's. And if you want to make someone rich, you can make me rich. I will buy whatever condo you want, anywhere you want it. Because if you're going to give me rent for 30 years, I would love that. And I would sincerely love it. I might even give you a couple months for free.
Look at Mrs. Cox
being real, and because people do this is how they entice people into these rents all the time when you're really mortgaging your life away. Buying a house is like, so when you rent, you have like one pocket, right? It's your one pocket, right? Mm-hmm. You put the money in this pocket and then you throw it away every month. You throw it away, right? Okay, when you buy, you have two pockets. This is the money this is the money that you put in for your house, okay? And this is the money that goes for taxes, insurance, and all that other kind of stuff, right? Okay. So in rent, you have a $2,000 payment. All of it goes to the landlord. They get it all. You got a $2,000 payment. When you own, well, about $1,500 will go toward the principal. So you started at $200,000, and over the course of a year, that's $18,000 that the price of your house dropped, plus the 5% that your house increased in value from the 200,000. So in year one, you made 38,000. If you're renting in year one, they'll probably raise it. And you know what Albert Einstein said? He said the eighth greatest wonder is compound interest. What's compound interest? I think that's true. So now your house that you bought for 200 is now worth 238,000, right? So then instead of taking 5% year two from 200,000, you take it from 238,000. Well, it's not 238. It's actually, because 18,000, your house is actually going to be worth 182,000 is what you owe on it, and your house will be worth in value 220,000. So it's a $38,000 in between. But anyway, 220,000, 5% of that would bring you up to what is that? Another gosh, my math is not good. What is that?
Hey, look, this ain't dope black math. Black arithmetic.
And anyway, your value would increase, and then you would also drop another $18,000 on your principal payment. So in year two, you're probably going to be up 50 or 60,000. Credit repair, tax planning. I don't know. Credit repair is pretty easy. You only need a 620 to get get a house. And a credit repair, I would just say, I don't know, maybe pay your bills on time. Don't create big ones and pay your bills on time. If you have a student loan, I mean, Biden is giving you some kind of tax break or some kind of where they're not counting it towards your mortgage payment or something. I forgot what it's called. Some kind of relief on your housing. Right now would be the best time to buy a house if you have student loans. Absolutely. Especially before that goes away. Because once that goes away, then they're going to count that as what it would actually be on income, and then you're not going to. Maybe that's what you're talking about, Dylan, where you can't afford it. Your debt to income ratio too high. Is that what it is? Did you go to the wrong lender and they told you something that you believed? I would never just go to one lender, man. Yeah. Did you go to one lender?
Yep.
I would go to at least 4 or 5 because they're all going to tell you something different. They're all going to have some program. And was it a credit union?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. Check this out.
Considering that when you have $100,000 out in loans, student loans for 2 degrees, you're kind of leery going in trying to purchase a house, considering the high payment of the student loans, in addition to car note, insurance, the house note.
I call that getting caught up in the process. You know why?
Understood.
Because if you have that house for 2 years, say at least even on, right? Have it for a couple of years, maybe not even that. If it's in Colorado, you might only have to have it 6 months, right? You refinance, you pay everything off. And besides, how do you make money in this country?
Debt.
Right. And you had some, right?
Yep.
And you were paying it on time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Who's going to like that?
Lenders.
Right. And if you can have access to money, then what can you do? Make more money, right?
Absolutely.
You have all the answers, man. I don't even have to tell you. All I did was ask the question and you answered it all.
But check this out. This is what Margaret was saying. She was saying the problem is sometimes you can't move to Colorado because your house, like everyone else's, is now 3 times what it was worth. You know, when people, I guess sometimes it becomes like what do you call it? Failure to launch. So here's something that Rania said: for student loans, create a nonprofit and work for it for 10 years. Then public student loan forgiveness or lower payments to income-based repayment is what they're offering right now.
Yeah,
from Biden. But yeah, you know,
I did apply. I didn't qualify.
another thing there's another program out there. Another thing I would say is people get scared when you see on the news because news makes news, right? So this is only going to be interesting if it's news. And they said there's 10 people trying to buy this one house. There's all 10 people trying to, and they got bought up. They can't buy this one house. Guarantee you on that same block, there's another house that nobody's bidding on. And what happens if you're in the same block as another house that's 300,000 and maybe your house is 100,000?
You get comped.
your house, once you buy it, is going to be worth $300,000 next year, because that's how they do the appraisal values of property. So if you buy a house for lower than what all the other houses are in your neighborhood, it's going to be worth the same as all the other houses in your neighborhood, because that's how appraisals work.
Now, isn't that a strategy? They tell you try to buy the cheapest house in the nicest neighborhood that you can afford.
Yes. So you know what people do? They want to buy that house that 10 other people are buying and say, I can't get into that house. You're right, you can't get in that house, but you can get in this house, but you don't want that house because it's not, we want instant gratification. But if you want to wait a little bit, like I bought a house, I always use myself in this example. I bought a house in a Cherry Creek neighborhood where all the rich white people are, right? For nothing, for half of what everyone else bought it for. And in the next year, my house was worth the same as theirs. Now, those deals are there all day long, every day. This is why I say someone can buy a house every year. It's not that hard. And until everybody catches on, and most likely, unless they're listening to Dope Black Thoughts, they're not going to.
Hey, that's why we drop these thoughts on them, drop these gems coming straight from Cleveland King.
Thanks, man. Sorry,
Dylan, man. What are your thoughts? After hearing all this, a house a year till 2025, you ought to have about a good 3 houses.
And
3, 4.
He said couple.
You only got to buy a house a year, man.
No, that's I'm actually here for it.
Yeah, it's doable. Once you get the first house, the banks loan you everything. I mean, they own you a lot. They will loan you the house value. And if you have a business, now they're going to loan you personal and business. You got to have that crib, though. That's the one thing they don't tell us. You got to have that crib to get really anywhere in this country. Any crib. Once you have that crib, the banks will give you personal credit. The banks will give you business credit. And they will give you double, say, someone that doesn't have a crib. Like if you go to the SBA and you're trying to get a loan for whatever you're trying to get a loan and you don't have that crib, it is significantly different than if you do. Now, let's also think about this. Now, who owns the country? 76% of white people in Colorado own their home. 37% of black people own their home. Who's running the country? Who's running the United States? It's not us, because we don't believe in home ownership. Not right now, we don't. We rather have that immediate gratification. Let me go get these tennis shoes. Dave Chappelle, he came to Colorado. Love Dave Chappelle. What were they, $500 a ticket or whatever? Right? Okay, my program is $1,000 total cost to buy a house. How many people called me versus how many people went to Dave Chappelle? Can't say you haven't seen it. I'm everywhere. And it's not just me, because all realtors and all lenders are different. Everybody has a different program. So you have to do some shopping and ask them what they have that benefits you.
Wow, man. When you put it like that, it kind of starts, it starts to feel like a little slap in the face. Like, Kevin, you're in that group, by the way.
Did you buy those $500?
No.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
No, but I've easily thrown away $1,000 in the last year. Easily.
On vacation, right?
Yeah.
It costs at least $1,000 to take a family out.
Starbucks this year.
Me too.
I don't know if I thought that was a joke.
No, they came out with that pistachio frappuccino, man. Brought me right back in. Every time I think I'm out, they keep bringing me back, man.
I like Starbucks too, man. I do. I like those Madeleines, and I like that. The coffee's actually pretty good. But that's $7-8 a day.
People hate on Starbucks coffee, man. I delivered to Starbucks for a good period of time, and they got the freshest, highest quality ingredients replenished every single night.
Wow,
everything
really?
is daily fresh. Every 24 hours, everything in that store gets replaced. Nothing is more than a day old.
Wow.
Except maybe like the packaged things that are up in that little cooler at the front, in front of the register. That stuff can stay there, but everything else brand new. They throw out the handmade sandwiches. Every single night they throw them out.
Wow.
They replace them with new sandwiches.
And you should do a commercial. That made me want to go to Starbucks, for real.
No, it's just real, dude. But they would throw away so much stuff that they would give us tons of free stuff. So we would
that's cool.
you know, because we're delivering it to them, getting carpal tunnel, putting their milk gallons up in the fridge and whatnot. So yeah, you know, they hooked us up. But the moral of the story is that stuff is fresh. People talk down on Starbucks. Oh, the coffee's nasty. Like seriously, there's so much sugar in it. Doesn't it have to taste delicious? It's killing me.
It tastes.
You know?
I love Starbucks. I have nothing negative to say about it. I would love to own one. Maybe one day.
Look,
enough cribs.
trying to get my cribs up so I can buy a Starbucks.
That's right, or something else.
The Constitution Packers. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
I don't know what that
Margo.
is either. What is that?
I'm curious what that means, Margo. Hit us back. Let us know. We're gonna close up here in about 3 minutes, but that just made my ear kind of
So you're gonna have that house, right, Dylan? Next year.
Next year, hopefully this year. I'm working on that now. So.
Dylan,
I know
Dylan's different.
Yes, sir.
Dylan, get the house and rent it.
There you go. I'm renting my house because it's way too big.
Just get it and rent it. You're already in an apartment. Just get the house and rent it. Call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Just get the process started and take the profits from renting it and buy another house next year.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Pretty easy to buy one.
I'm just putting that out there as if I'm a homeowner. As if I'm a homeowner, right? But you say you're at that point, and we keep talking.
Like a homeowner.
Put your business in your mouth. Always be talking about what you're doing to generate your wealth and let people know what you're trying to do. Hey, maybe someone may drop some philanthropic dollars onto DBT to help us get started. Maybe Cleveland King will bless our game and get us into that house the first time for the low. Dylan, maybe you need to grab up that 1,000 and holler at Cleveland after the show. I'm not talking crazy, but if it's just 1,000, I'm no longer in the state of Colorado, so I had to find someone out here doing a similar program. But at the same time, we can make this happen. Yeah. And then hopefully, Dylan, you would be a landlord that has a heart and a soul, and doesn't just destroy people's livelihoods by increasing the rent every time the market will remotely bear it.
Right. No, I wouldn't do anything like that.
I'm gonna give them a month for free because I don't want them to buy. Maybe 2 months. I'm joking. Sort of. Not really. But I would want them to buy. I want them to buy, but that's what they do.
Say Constitution Packers. Hold on. Let me try to tie a knot on this. And they give that to the people, right? Really hope they are. Read the next line. I'm still lost. Hey, Margo, you know what? Just go ahead and keep on commenting. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up right now. Cleveland, Dylan, y'all got a dope black thought for us?
I don't.
What do I say?
I'm gonna pivot to you.
Don't believe all the hype. They lying to us, man. They lying to us. It's easier to buy a house than you think. How's that?
Easier to buy a house than you think, and the system is really set up only to benefit homeowners. If we allow the homeowners to continuously be, white folks and rich people, then the system is no longer going to continue to not be set up for us. That's what you're telling me.
I agree with that one. That's a good one. I like that one.
All right, man. I'm gonna make sure I pick up what you put down. Everybody, this has been another great episode of Dope Thoughts. This is what we do. We just come on and speak our mind to you. Thanks for coming on and adding to the conversation. Cleveland, thanks for coming and beating it for it that we need to just buy another house. Damn it.
1 year. We gotta have 2 years. We on the show for 2 years.
Okay, so I'm 2 houses behind. See,
it starts today.
Starting now. Okay, but 1 house coming up. Appreciate you, Cleveland.
This year, 1 house.
Thanks, Cleveland.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate y'all.
We'll see you.
See ya.
What is love? It's a drug. Let it rotate, then get back in it. Calling me an Uber just to get back to you. Use the cash out like pay, I send it. Is it really worth the wait? I don't get